Course B1P13-2. Pattern of features. Circular and linear. Often parts of a construction are repeated. In a terminal strip, the mounting holes, or in a turbine, the blades. In most cases, these are simple rules that control the distribution of the copies, and this is how the patterns that gave this command its name are created. But complex rules can also be stored or tables or a completely individual distribution of the copies. This course starts with the complex topic of patterns of features, which will be deepened in the next courses. Pattern. The exercise part shows 3 different patterns: a circular pattern around an axis, a linear pattern in one direction, and a linear pattern with 2 directions. The last pattern also has an exception: one of the holes is pushed out of the pattern. Create hole. First, create the circular pattern, with the first hole at 45 degrees. Start the hole command. Select the settings shown and start the sketcher by clicking on Sketch section. Create the first point, for example at the top right, and create a line between the point and the center of the existing hole. Use the length and angle of the line to control the position of the point. In fact, you can add as many lines, arcs or circles as you like to the sketch to position the points, because only points create holes. Finish the sketch and the command. Circular pattern. Start the pattern feature command. Select the feature to be patterned, i.e. the hole. The reference point is created automatically for a hole, i.e. a rotationally symmetrical geometry. It is always located in the center. But, for example, in the case of a slot, one or the other center point of the slot could be selected and thus produce deviating results. In this case, select circular as the layout option. The boundary definition should be set to none. More on this in the expert course B1P17E. Now the rotation axis for the circular field must be specified. The vector and its position can be set simply by selecting the cylindrical face of the 25 hole. Or, I select the surface again, by entering bearing in the name field. The next step is to define the way the copies are arranged. For the first test, select count and pitch as the spacing, count 4 and pitch 30 degrees. In the preview, the target positions are displayed with the small cubes, the so-called instance points. With the setting now selected, the count and a spacing between the copies are set. The end angle results from this. Select the count and span setting for the next test. This setting is used to set the count and the span angle, for example 360 degrees. The spacing between the copies results from this. Lastly, select the pitch and span setting. With this setting, the spacing between the copies is set with the pitch angle and the total spacing is set with the span angle. The count results from this. For the course, the count and span setting is best. Enter 4 as the count and 360 degrees as the span angle. Compare the other settings that will be used in the next courses and click OK. Test pattern. Finished is the pattern. A few more tests. Change the hole type. Works. Change the number. Works. Delete a hole. That is also possible. Just right-click on the instance point and choose Delete in the context menu. Undo the deletion. That is also possible. Right-click on the instance point again and select Undelete in the context menu. Linear pattern. Next, create the first screw hole in the area of the pocket. Start the pattern command again. First select the feature, and this time select linear as the layout option. The vector defines the direction in which the copies are created. This can be done by selecting an object, for example an edge or axis, or an absolute axis. Select the -x-axis as the vector. Under spacing, the selection is repeated in principle, as with the circular field. Select either count and pitch and then, as count 3 and as pitch distance 40. Or count and span and then, as span distance 80 mm. Compare the other settings and click OK. Linear pattern in 2 directions. Now create the threaded hole M5 at the bottom right. Now a linear pattern is created in 2 directions. Start the pattern feature command. Select the threaded hole. Choose linear as the layout. -x as the vector. and activate the Use Direction To option. As second direction, again an object or an absolute vector can be chosen. The two directions can thus have any angle to each other. Select the y-axis as the vector. Enter the count and spacing and click OK. Thus, patterns can be created in two individual directions. The number of each direction is simple to change. Individual copies, i.e. instances, can also be moved. Make a right-click on the upper left instance point and select Clock in the context menu. This allows you to specify a deviation from the position in both directions. Enter a clock of 38 mm for direction 1 and click OK. To cancel the clock, simply double-click the feature again, select the instance point, and click Unclock. With this you have learned the most important feature patterns. The next courses will deepen the knowledge about it. Please add the slot and the hole, because the course will be needed later in the drawing course.